Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being here. And a special thanks for your patience. We were trying to figure out what was not working, some of the tools, right? Some of the features on Zoom. So I appreciate your patience so much. Thank you for joining us again. I want to welcome you today's webinar. Our guest speakers will provide us with interesting information as we will learn about Give the Gift of Life. My name is Paola Manterola. I will be your host for today, and I'm the Vice President for Staff Assembly Programs. I work collaboratively with UCLA in the anesthesiology department, just jump into my coordinator role. So I'm so happy to be part of this team. Before we jump into the presentation, I would like to mention some important announcements, some housekeeping items. I want to let you know that the webinar is being recorded because we would like to publish it in the Staff Assembly's YouTube channel and website. The Learn and Blanch webinars are webinars that we offer once or twice a month from 12 to 1 p.m. And we are promoting the Learn and Blanch webinars in the Staff Assembly newsletter via social media as well. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and I'll show you later when we finalize this webinar where are the contacts that you can reach out via social media. Check them out and you can find out more about upcoming presentations, upcoming Learn and Blanch webinars. I will also ask you to please share your questions in the Q&A box. Thank you to all the people who were sharing their questions there. But if you have questions about the presentation, we will have a Q&A section to respond to all your questions in time, if the time allows, of course. Otherwise, you can reach out to us via email. And I will share the email, the Staff Assembly email in the chat, and then you can reach out to us and ask all your questions related to the presentation. But before we go into the theme, today's webinar, I will start with some information about the Staff Assembly. So the Staff Assembly is an organization for staff by staff. This organization was founded in 1978 and is supported by the Office of the Chancellor and Campus Human Resources. And we are dedicated to promoting the interest and welfare of all staff employees. So important roles of the Staff Assembly, as you can see on the slide, are to serve as an advisory body to the Chancellor and University Administration on issues of concern to staff. Also to foster staff engagement in support to UCLA's mission through educational, social, and community programs. We also help promote respect and cooperation among staff and other members of the UCLA community by providing a two-way communication system. As an important fact is that UCLA employees, all of them, are automatically members of the Staff Assembly and are cordially invited to actively participate. So in this slide, as you can see, there are multiple benefits of being part of this organization. So let us know if you are interested on joining us, because we would like to have all people from campus and health system staff to volunteer and be part of our amazing community. If you have any questions regarding the organization, I will just put in the chat the Staff Assembly email in a little bit, and then you can reach out to us. All right, so now we are going to start this webinar, and I'm very honored to introduce to you Dr. Dawn Ward, Tom King, and Allison Hui. They are our guest speakers for today, and they will be presenting about, as I anticipate, about a wonderful topic about giving the most beautiful gift, the gift of life. Dr. Ward is a distinguished medical professional serving in various key roles at the UCLA Health and David Geffen School of Medicine, She is the medical director of the Human Gene and Cell Therapy Facility and the medical director of the Blood and Platelet Center. She is an associate clinical professor and vice chair of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion in the Department of Pathology and Laboratory Medicine. So thank you so much. We appreciate your time and we appreciate you, Dr. Ward, for being here. Tom King, he is the campus donor recruiter for the UCLA Blood and Platelet Center, and he works closely with the student groups, department, and faculty to educate and raise awareness of the needs of the BPC. Tom has a master's in counseling and a master of divinity. Alison Hu, our third speaker, she is the chemical inventory specialist for the UCLA Environment, Health, and Safety Department. As part of the chemical safety team, she supports research laboratories on campus with chemical inventory management services. So with that introduction of our panelists, I'd like to pass it on to Dr. Warren now.
Thank you so much, Paula, for that wonderful introduction and for the invitation to speak today at this Learn at Lunch. As we know, this is January, so it is Blood Donor Month, and I'm super excited to share this information with you all. So next slide, please. Or can I advance the slides? No. There we go. Okay, so this is just a brief outline of what I'll be presenting today. And we'll go a little bit over transfusion medicine, also over UCLA Health, just so that you understand the health system that we're supporting. We'll go over the different blood components and review the transfusions and collections at UCLA, and then also describe how you can become a blood donor. So really what we want to do today is really get you engaged and excited about donating blood, and also teach you a little bit about what happens when you do donate your blood. So we do, I will go over the donor eligibility, and then we have Allison and Tom that are available. They'll go over their experiences, and Tom with his recruitment, Allison with her experience as a blood donor. So the whole goal of this really is to engage you to become a hospital employee and partner with us with the Blood and Platelet Center. Okay, next slide. So you can just scroll through. There's a kind of like an animation, so just click through until it's complete. But I just wanted to kind of give you just a little overview of, go back one, about transfusion medicine, because it is a small niche within medicine, and it's really made up of 3 different divisions. One is the donor side. That's what we will be addressing today, and that's recruiting donors, ensuring they're eligible to donate. Then you collect the blood products from the donor, and then we have like this processing section of transfusion medicine, and that's really where you're kind of working as like a manufacturing or a pharmaceutical biotech type of company, where you have the blood that you've collected, it gets tested, there's special modification that it undergoes. We ensure that it meets all of the regulation and guidelines for transfusions to patients. And then the third part of transfusion medicine really is that patient care. So ensuring that we give the proper blood to patients, ensuring that it's matched, that it's safe, pure, and potent for patients. And so it's really 3 different divisions, and we'll talk a little bit about each one, but primarily focus on the donor side today. So in the next slide, what you will see is what happens when you come to donate blood with us. So we have you come and donate a whole blood donation through a venipuncture or phlebotomy. And what that means is that we collect whole blood, meaning everything that's in your blood at that time. It's collected in about a 500 ml or half a liters, plus or minus about 10%. And after that collection, the blood is immediately placed in temperature control so that it begins to cool down, because when we collect it from you, it's nice and warm, right? Your body temperature. Following the collection, it's then moved to our processing laboratory. And in the processing laboratory, we will filter it, or what we call leukoreduce, and that removes 99% of the white cells from that blood component. Next, we centrifuge or spin it, and that separates the blood components into packed red cells, because the red cells are heavy, they go to the bottom of the bag. And then we have the liquid part of your blood at the top, which is plasma. And at that point, we can fractionate or express off the plasma and then have a plasma unit that's available, and then we'll have the packed red cell available as well. So that will be just the red cell unit. And as you know, for red cells, they're oxygen carrying. They also have hemoglobin there as well. And so there are several patient populations that require the replacement of only packed red cells. And so we have that ability to fractionate a whole blood unit from one donation. For the next slide, please. For our plasma, we can also do a little bit more to the plasma if we need to. We don't always do that. So we can collect the plasma as is, and that pretty much has all of the different parts of the liquid part of the blood in that plasma unit. Or we can further modify the plasma into cryoprecipitate. And cryoprecipitate is primarily made for fibrinogen replacement. And so you can see here, we will pull 5 different small cryo units to make 1 dose for adults. Now, during the pandemic, we also collected plasma from people that were positive for SARS-CoV or COVID-19, and then we had that plasma unit as COVID convalescent plasma. Now, we still have that ongoing. So if you had a recent COVID infection with laboratory results from a physician, we can sign you up as a plasma COVID-19 plasma donor. And as I mentioned before, that's still ongoing. We still have patients in the hospital that require that need. So that is an option. Or, if you don't have that, it will just be normal plasma, or it can be made into cryoprecipitate. Next slide. Okay, the other way that you can participate with us is becoming a platelet donor. This is called an apheresis platelet collection. And what we do here is that we will connect you up to a machine, and we will set you up with a television screen, or people are on their phones. And essentially what we'll do at that point is collect whole blood from you. The whole blood then passes through a machine that will separate the blood as well. And it will take off some of the plasma and also your platelets, and everything else then is returned to you. So in this case, we're not taking off a whole unit of blood. We're just taking out a portion of the blood, the plasma and platelets, and then that goes back to you. Why are platelets important? Platelets are important because they play a major role in repairing vessel damage. Anytime there's an injury to any vessel in your body, vein, artery, etc., these platelets will then form a clot there, and that will prevent you from bleeding out into spaces. And so there are patient populations that do not make their own platelets because they have issues with their bone marrow, or sometimes their body is using up the platelets through clotting or through the spleen, and so they will need platelet replacement. And so this is a process where you can donate your platelets and help patients in that regard. So next slide, please. Okay, so why donate blood with UCLA? Next slide. So here at UCLA, as you are aware, we are a very busy hospital group. We have the Reagan Hospital with over 500 inpatient beds, in addition to ICU rooms on every floor, very busy operating room, and a very busy transplant service. We're also a level 1 trauma center, so any trauma can come into our center, and some of those traumas do require blood and platelet transfusion. We also have our children's hospital with 90 inpatient beds, including ICU and a level 3 NICU. And then we also support the Santa Monica UCLA hospital, which is very similar to Reagan, except with the exception of the organ transplantation that's available. But it's a very busy service as well, with over 265 inpatient beds, an adult ICU, a PICU, and also 9 operating rooms. Next slide. So if we just look at UCLA Health by numbers, over 40,000 admissions annually, over 14,000 inpatient surgeries, including multiple liver transplants, multiple outpatient surgeries, and even more emergency room visits. And so our Blood and Platelet Center supports all of UCLA Health, including Santa Monica Hospital. Next slide. So when we look at our transfusions just by the numbers, you can see that there are over 30,000 transfusions that occurred in fiscal year 23 at UCLA Health, and over 17,000 platelets that were transfused at UCLA Health. In addition, over 11,000 plasma units and almost close to 4,000 cryoprecipitate units. So lots of transfusions that occur on a day-to-day basis within our UCLA Health system. Next slide, please. And really, we want to be able to support all of the patients that are seen at both UCLA, Reagan, and Santa Monica hospitals. Now, unfortunately, we're not able to collect all of the blood that is transfused to patients. We definitely want to increase the number of donors that come through our centers. So currently, we're supporting approximately 53% of the whole blood that's required for transfusion, and about 53% for platelets that's required for transfusion in the hospital as well. We do have two fixed sites, so one in Westwood, the other in Ackerman Student Union. That's available for donors to go to donate. And then we also have mobile drives that take place within the hospital. So sometimes you'll see emails about us, having drives in the hospital at Reagan and Santa Monica. Additionally, we try to go out to some of the clinics. We have multiple high school blood drives throughout Los Angeles County and slightly beyond Los Angeles County. And then we go into businesses and have community drives as well. So prior to the pandemic, the Blood and Platelet Center supplied about 75% of the transfusion needs at UCLA Health, and currently we're at about 50%. So we are really trying to get back up to that 75% or even more if possible, and we need your help to be able to do that. Next slide, please. A little bit about the components processing laboratory. So as I mentioned before, after we collect the blood, then it's actually processed or fractionated. And this is just an example, and just demonstrates the blood here that's hanging on the pole. And then that diamond there is actually the leukoreduction filter. So that's where the blood will pass through and it'll remove the white cells. And then at the bottom, you have your collecting bag where you have your plasma and your red cells, essentially without the white cells or the neutrophils just before centrifugation. We also have the most recent technology for platelets. And what we see here at the bottom of this slide here is pathogen reduction technology. And essentially with this, after we collect the platelets, it's exposed to amotosalen and illuminated with UV light, and then the amotosalen is removed. And those platelets then are considered pretty much sterile. It's called pathogen reduction, but that ensures that there's safety for the platelet transfusion to the patients. In addition to that, within the components processing laboratory, the units will stay there while the donor disease testing is completed. So as you donate, we will take a couple of tubes that are sent off for testing, and we keep those units there in quarantine until everything is a go, essentially. And then once those units are ready for transfusion, they'll be sent over to the different hospitals. Next slide.
Dr. Ward, there's a question about what infectious disease tests we do.
Sure. I might have a slide, but just in case I don't, the infectious disease testing that we do hepatitis B testing, hepatitis C testing, HIV testing, West Nile virus testing. We'll also test for CMV or cytomegalovirus, and that's because there is a need for CMV seronegative units for our NICU and our bone marrow transplant patients. We also test for HTLV 1 and 2. We also test for syphilis. So those are the infectious disease that we test for. In addition, we'll do the blood type as well. We'll also look for any antibodies that a donor may have. Essentially, yeah, that's the testing that we will perform. In regard to other tests that are ruled out, we do have a donor history questionnaire. And within the donor history questionnaire, there are questions that will ask about travel history, and that helps exclude any type of malarial infection that could be from the donor and collected into the units. So within the blood bank and how we're caring for patients, As I mentioned, we do the donor blood typing and also screen. We also do patient blood typing and screen because we want to ensure that patients receive compatible or matched units. So we're looking at the antigens on the red cells, and we're testing the antibodies that patients may have circulating in their blood. The management for patients includes services within trauma, such as for massive transfusions, both in the ED and on the hospital ward. We also support neonates, and I had mentioned before, providing like CMV seronegative units that is specifically for neonates because they're immature. We support the stem cell and all solid organ transplants. And also one of our biggest patient populations we support are the hematology and oncology service. So unfortunately, people that have solid cancers and also hematologic malignancies as well, and then all of our operating rooms. And what you see here in this slide is we see our infusionist hanging the blood for a patient that will be transfused. And at the bottom here, you see that this is following a patient in the OR, and lots of blood that was needed for this surgery here. And our surgeons and our infusionists in the OR have to reconcile the number of units that was transfused to a patient. And so this is just an example of them lining up so they can provide that information back to us. Next slide, please. So how can you become a blood donor? Go to the next slide. As I mentioned before, we do have 2 fixed site collection facilities. One in Westwood, it's just across from Whole Foods off of Gailey. There's the sign there in the bottom left of this slide. We have the Ackerman Student Union, which is the middle picture here. And that's right across from the bookstore on the 2nd level. And then we also have multiple mobile drives within the community. And you may see our truck driving around. That's will house all of the different equipment that we need to set up these mobile and community blood drives. Next slide, please. Now, we have approximately 1 drive per month or we try to at least at the 2 different hospitals. But we do recognize that there are employees all through Southern California. And, we would love for you all to partner with us and become a blood donor. We try to inform you of different things we have in regard to blood donation and different incentives that we have available for our donors. And so you may see emails that go out, and that's usually an all employee email. And we also try to provide information at the new hire orientation. Employees are attending blood drives also in the community. And so we do have that information available on our website as well to inform you if we have drives that are close to the different satellite areas that UCLA supports throughout Southern California. Next slide. Okay. So your volunteer donation could either be whole blood or apheresis platelets. There are some eligibility that must be met. Blood transfusion is an extremely regulated area within medicine, and so we are regulated by the FDA. And so we do ask that you be at least 110 pounds or greater, and that's for your safety as we take some of the volume from you for the donation. Also, we'll take your vital signs. We want to ensure that you don't have any underlying colds or flus or anything like that. So the temperature needs to be less than 99.5. Your pulse also, we'd like it to be over 50, although there are some exceptions for extreme athletes. We want to make sure that you are feeling well the day that you come to donate. That's because your blood is being transfused to patients that unfortunately aren't so well. And so we want to make sure that we can give them the safest product available. No cold or flu symptoms, no open cuts or wounds. And then we'll also test your hemoglobin because we want to ensure that even though we're taking blood from you, that we're not taking too much and making you anemic over time. And we want to make sure that you are safe with the donation. So we will test for hemoglobin, and for females, it needs to be greater than 12.5 grams per liter, and for males, greater than 13.0 grams per deciliter. Next slide, please. I had mentioned earlier about our donor history questionnaire. And I also mentioned that we are highly regulated. We're regulated by the FDA, by the ABB, and also by California. And so there is a donor history questionnaire that must be completed completely. All the answers have to be questioned, and we will ask questions in regards to travel because there are some travel restrictions related to malaria. There's also some questions about babesia. We'll ask about the different medications that you may be on. We'll also ask about a medical and surgical history. And then there'll also be questions that the FDA has determined high risk behaviors. And that's just to ensure that the blood is safe, pure, and potent for our patients. And a lot of the questions as well are to ensure that you are safe during your donation, in addition to ensuring a patient is safe after we collect blood from you and would need to be transfused to these patients within the hospitals. Next slide. So I'm going to tell you what I believe the benefits of blood donation are, and then we're going to hear from two amazing people as well that can share their experiences too. But for us, if you're donating blood, just know that every 3 seconds someone needs blood in the United States, and you can save up to 3 lives with your blood donation. You will get access to your blood type. So we do have a system. So if you don't know your blood type, you can donate blood, and then a couple of days later, you'll have that information for you. And then you can also be a directed donor. Sometimes we get those requests, and that's if you know someone that is being transfused in our hospital system. You can come to donate and have your blood kind of reserved for them if they need that. And if the patient does not need it, then it would be that blood would then go to the normal inventory to support any patient in the hospital. So we would love for you to come donate. We need your help to save lives, and we would love for you to come donate, not just once, but become one of our repeat donors to sustain the inventory of blood that we need for our UCLA patients. Next slide, please. Okay, so now we're going to hear some wonderful experiences. We'll start with Allison. She's one of our employed blood donors, and I'll let her give some information and background about what she does. And in the meantime, if you want to go ahead and scan the QR code, that'll take you to our website and allow you to sign up to donate blood and find out a little bit more information. So I'll hand it over to you, Allison.
Hi, thank you so much. So thank you for letting me be here today. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Allison Hui, and I've been an employee blood donor since I started working at UCLA Environmental Health and Safety in 2022. So I'll just share my experience as being a blood donor. So to be honest, my first incentive when I was being a blood donor was to actually get comp time and movie tickets. I was like, that's great. You know, what can get better than that? And for those who don't know what comp time is, it means 4 hours of vacation time. That's pretty good, isn't it? So I will always go there whenever I can. After every 56 days or so, I can go donate my blood. And eventually I got to know Tom, Melanie, and the others at the Ackerman Blood Donation Center. My incentive has actually shifted to be more like, I want to actually donate blood now because it's a much needed resource. And as Dr. Ward mentioned earlier, you know, like every 3 seconds, someone needs blood, and each donation will save up to 3 lives. So, and as she mentioned, like they need to get up to 75% on campus to be able to like meet the needs and demands. So like, why not? So that has become more my like my purpose incentive to donate blood. And also so far, everyone at the Blood Donation Center has been so like warm and caring. So it's always been a really wonderful experience, like being there, donating the blood, and talking to Tom and Melanie and everybody else. So eventually, Tom and I decided to collaborate our departments together to become campus partner. This is a way to increase blood donations, and I help to coordinate blood drives and blood processing facility tours for my department every quarter. So by doing this, the number of donors from my department increased, and there are usually between 8 to 12 people that will attend the blood processing facility towards the CHS. So as the presentation earlier where Dr. Ward showed, she showed the processes, how the blood, it has been centrifuged and everything, all those steps. So this is what you see in person at CHS when you attend the tour. So this tour, the blood processing facility tour at CHS every quarter has always been an eye-opening experience. Because before, when I donated blood, I've never given a second thought. I'd be like, okay, here I am. I'm gonna enjoy my blood donation thing for these like 10, 15 minutes I'm here, or however long I am, and talk to Tom, talk to the others, and then have my blood donated. That's it. That's all I used to think about that. But now, and that's where it has a disconnect, because there's always been this disconnection in the start of the process to where it ends up. And so having these tours and attending them gave me and my coworkers at the EHS department a greater appreciation for the work that the staff at EHS does to process the blood, as well as a greater appreciation for the volunteer blood donors. So by being campus partners, it has been a win-win situation for both sides. For the UCLA Ackerman Blood Donation Center, by being a campus partner, they are able to increase the blood donations, spread awareness, and understand, and also have more understanding of how the blood processing works. While for the EHS, for my side of the department for EHS, we're able to increase our department's presence and involvement on UCLA campus. So far we have tabled at Tom's blood drives, as since we want to be more involved, we want to get out the word, hey, we have this environmental health and safety department. So we have been tabling. And we have tabled at Tom's blood drives that he organized, such as the ones at the Net Plaza for the housing and hospitality group, and the Philippines and the global health life learning communities. So I'm going to share a quick experience from Liz Request. She is my co-worker from the chemical safety team. She's the one who does the EHS outreach, and I'm going to share her experience for tabling together at the blood drives. So this is what she says. For the first tabling, we did a household hazardous waste tabling game and preventing slips, trips, and falls. And at the second one, we did heat illness prevention, slips, trips, and falls, and how to prepare for fire alarms. As EHS, we wanted to provide students, staff, or faculty passing by with safety information alongside their interest in providing to the community with their blood donation. Because our first event with the Blood and Platelet Center was around the dorms, we wanted to inform the students that the items we consider non-hazardous are actually toxic to the environment and should be disposed properly in our on-campus safety center, so SAFE center. Our second tabling was in the middle of the summer, and we wanted to spread awareness of heat illness and common signs and measures to prevent it. So unquote. So as I said, with all this is a really win-win situation for both sides. You know, we're both being very involved on UCLA campus, and we're able to promote and information that we want. So it has been such a joy to be a campus partner, and I look forward to continuing this partnership, Tom, and the UCLA Ackerman Blood Donation Center. So thank you so much, and now I'll pass it to Tom Kidd.
Thank you, Allison. I chose well, clearly, from someone from a department to share their experience. So thanks so much. So I just want to say a couple of things. First of all, myself as a donor, which relates to one of the questions, is that my husband and I have been together for years, and the FDA guidelines have changed now. So there are no longer questions regarding sexual orientation or gender identity. The questions now are about whether you have had new sexual partners. So everyone's asked the same questions now about whether you've had a new sexual partner or multiple sexual partners in the last 3 months. And so to answer that question that was in there, Dr. Moore may want to add to, but just to say that with that change, I've been able to donate, and it's pretty awesome. So the other thing I'd like to add is that I recently visited one of the VPs of the Staff Assembly Executive Board, who was in the hospital, and she wanted me to share today that she received 5 transfusions during her recent hospital stay. So we have people within our own community that desperately need blood. So she said, please tell people to donate, and thanks to those that have, that help save her life and get those transfusions that she needed. So Allison really touched upon a lot of aspects of where we partner with different organizations on campus, with student clubs and departments. And part of that she mentions is that we arrange, if the department wants to have a tour of the component processing lab, if you're interested in tabling, some organizations, can table either here at the donor center or at other events like Allison mentioned. If there's like awareness that you want to have on campus about who you are, or maybe an event. We have a lot of student clubs that take advantage of that. If they have some sort of, philanthropic event that they want to kind of get more attendance. So the tabling is one of the aspects. As we mentioned with the tours, and also that we do have incentive programs for also departments as well, to say thank you for what you have done for us as well, outside of the individual incentives that we have. So when you donate, it kind of varies on the time of the year, but we, as Allison mentioned, there's the comp time, which a lot of people are eligible for, but if not, we have gift cards. And somebody asked in the chat about the long sleeve t-shirts and the hoodies, which we still have through this week. So long sleeve for blood donors and sweatshirts for platelet donors. So those are some of the incentives that we do still have. So it's been a real joy for me to work with departments like Allison's and others. So if y'all are interested, I will put my email in the chat. If you are interested in having us meet, discuss more, maybe about what a partnership might be like. What Allison stated is really true. When we partner with different groups, like with clubs and with different campus departments, it just makes, it just people feel better. They can go with their peers or their colleagues. We see an increase in donors when we do these specific partnerships. We also see an increase when we do the lab tours. That really works. People see it and they're like, okay, I kind of get it. I really see the need. And so we are grateful if you want to partake in any of those. So I will share my email in the chat, and I'd be happy to discuss any of that with y'all. And I know there are some questions in the chat, so I'll stop.
All right, thank you so much, Tom, Allison, and Dr. Ward. Do we have more slides to present, or we could just start with the Q&A section?
Here, there's just one more slide, just with the I think the website and that, yeah. So that's what it looks like when you reach out to our website. That QR code will also lead you there. I do see a couple of questions that we can address.
I'm going to stop sharing then my screen so we can start with this Q&A section. Thank you everyone for sharing your questions in the chat. So we already responded to the first question, right? Which is about which infectious diseases you test for, and if it's true, people with long COVID shouldn't donate.
So there's not any literature in regard to people with long COVID that says that they cannot donate. The main thing is that what symptoms are being exhibited. So if you're still having upper respiratory symptoms, then that would be a deferral, because the first question on the donor history questionnaire is, are you feeling well, healthy and well? And if you don't meet that criteria, then we would ask that you not donate.
Wonderful, thank you. The second question is, can you please comment on the recent changes related to donor eligibility for men who have sex with other men? I think we do talk about that already.
I just wanted to give one follow-up to that, and Tom answered it beautifully. One thing is this, in the particular question, they said being abstinent. That's not what we're asking for people to be abstinent. It's really about high-risk behaviors. And so if you're in a monogamous relationship, then there's not it's not considered high risk. So really that's what is differentiating from the past. Before we asked that you be completely abstinent. That has changed. It's really now just determining whether or not there's risk involved with with multiple partners, and also different types of sex that could be had. And so that's what's delineated in the questions.
Wonderful, thank you. There is an attendee, their name is Grant Lion, and it says, not a question, but I want to give a shout out to the Gately location staff because they are great. Rose Estrada, shout outs to your team, is asking, are the hoodies and long sleeve t-shirts still available?
Yeah, and Tom mentioned that those are available, I believe, through the end of this week. And then after that, they're gone until our next campaign begins.
And that's going to be $25, or I think, well, I don't know about the dollar amount, I better not, but it's going to be gas cards.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, we have another comment or question here. So I'm long-time donor and I appreciate the calm time. However, I've been getting more pushback from my department when it comes to using that calm time. Apparently, it's very complicated for the payroll folks to process that time. Is there something you can do to make that easier? Great question.
Unfortunately, the comp time is kind of out of our hands. It's within the UCLA system. It always has been. So we're very grateful that it is available because we know that that is somewhat of a motivator for people to come donate. So I would ask that your departmental leadership can reach out to myself if they're having challenges with that, but this is something that is embedded within UCLA. And I'm not sure if there's anything that we can do to make it easier, but I'd love to have a conversation with them and just explain the importance of blood donation and how much it helps our hospital system.
Wonderful. Another question is, how frequently may people donate?
Sure. So it really is dependent upon the component that you're donating. So if you're donating apheresis platelets, you can donate every 7 days, up to 24 donations a year. And if you're donating whole blood, you can donate every 8 weeks or every 56 days. And the reason for those limitations and the frequency is for your own safety, right? So we don't want to take too much from you over a period of time. And so these are guidelines set by the FDA for whole blood donation. And at our center, up to 24 times a year for platelets at every 7-day interval.
Wonderful. And the last question is there a schedule that staff might check for the mobile clinic and Santa Monica hospital drives?
I'm going to punt that to Tom. Thank you so much, Tom.
Sure. Our website has, it's really probably the best place to go. You can go on our website and there's a place where you can put in your zip code. And that will tell you about blood drives that are happening in that area. And the same would go then if you added in for like Santa Monica for the hospital. So that would be that's the kind of the best way to do that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I have one question about the requirements, to become a donor. Is there anything related with age? There's a limited age to donate blood?
So there's a minimum age requirement. There's not a maximum age requirement. And we've had some donors that have gotten up there in decades, and we appreciate them coming to donate. The minimum is 16 years old. And if you are 16, it does require parental consent. So 17 and above does not require parental consent. But there's no maximum age. So as long as you feel healthy and well, we'd love to have you come and donate with us.
That's great news, Dr. Ward. I think I'm going to join the list of donors for sure. Thank you so much. Well, that's all the questions that we have. And again, I would like to encourage our audience to reach out to the staff assembly. If you have any questions, I share our email address in the chat. And I want to thank you on behalf of the staff assembly and all our attendees. I want to thank you, each of you, so much for this very informative session. We have learned so much. I was just reminding me about my biology classes and all the things that I learned in the past. So it was very, very enriching to hear all this information and also to understand the whole process. That's very important. Also, your experiences, the experiences you're sharing are very, very valuable. So everything is very important for us, and because what blood donation means for those who need the blood and for their families is something just, beyond everything, like amazing gift, as you're saying in your title of this presentation, is just an amazing gift. So I want to thank you all for being here, taking the time to share with our staff and faculty members this information. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you,
Uh,
Allison.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you, everyone.
Thank you. And I'm going to go back to share very quickly because we are about to finalize our webinar today. And I just wanted to let the audience know that the Staff Assembly has a variety of awards and scholarships to honor the achievements and service of your our hardworking staff. So the applications for these awards are open annually in the spring quarter and are presented at the Staff Assembly Award Recognition Reception. So I would like to click in our link. I will share the link in the chat in a second, so you can go there and check in this website. Anyways, I'll be sharing this recording again. It will be in our YouTube channel and on our website if you would like to go back to this presentation. And then also I will share the presentation, the slides with you via email right after this webinar. So check it out if you are interested. And also we would like to invite you to stay connected with us, with the Staff Assembly. As you can see, you can start following us and keeping you like updated about everything that's going on. And our UCLA Staff Assembly Facebook page, as you can see, you can also utilize the QR code that is in there to become a follower, a member. Also, you can find us in Instagram and X, which is this new feature, right, of Twitter X. And you'll find, again, all the information that we have available for you in there. Also, if you are interested in volunteering, please sign up. There is a yellow QR code as well that is highlighted, so you can come and join us and spend a few hours contributing through volunteering work to all our staff and faculty members. We would really appreciate your support. Again, we are coming to an end. I would like to thank you all again for your patience at the beginning of the webinar. We are almost on time. So I hope that everyone who attended gets motivated and become a blood donor, right? I hope you enjoy the webinar, you learn, and please stay in touch, volunteer if you can. I will say thank you again and enjoy the rest of your day.